Hey everybody, this is our vocabulary for chapters 1 and 2 of Percy Jackson and the Olympians, The Lightning Thief. We're going to be reading this book fourth quarter. Some of you have actually read it, some of you have seen the movie, and let me tell you, the book is so much better than the movie. So let's get started. We're going to start with the vocabulary for these first two chapters so that you can get started getting as much out of this book as possible. The first word is expel. It is a verb to drive or force out or away. Occasionally, students can get expelled from school for committing some sort of something that goes against the school rules. So a student that is expelled is forced to leave, but you can be expelled from anything. You can be forced to leave any school, the mall, however it happens to be. So that is the first verb that we have. The next word is kleptomaniac, and that is a noun, a person who has an irresistible urge to steal. You see this lady's taking a bunch of stuff, and that lady's taking a candy bar. But someone who's a kleptomaniac is unable to control themselves when they go into a store. And it is actually a mental disorder. Sphinx. The Sphinx here that you see is just outside the pyramids of Giza, and it was thought to be a guardian. It is a noun. The word Sphinx is a noun, and it is the figure of an imaginary animal that has the head of a man and the body of a lion. They are often put together with the idea of riddles. The Sphinx liked to pose riddles to men. You'll see these a lot in the ancient books as grave markers or grave protectors. Speaking of graves, a stele or a stele is a noun, and it's an upright stone or slab that serves as a marker, often for a grave. We have them at the cemeteries around us, and they usually say something like, "Here lies Mrs. Phelan, she was loved by her students," or so she thought. But these grave markers, these steles, are actually ancient. This is from Egypt and has pictographs on it showing something about the person that was marked there. And this actually has a carving on it. So a stele is something that if you went to the MFA, you'd see them. And they're usually grave markers or marking of space on roads. Immortal. Mort actually means death. Someone who is mortal is someone who is able to die. So someone who is immortal is unable to die, and that's an adjective. I put up, a picture from the movie The Immortals right here on that, so you could be able to see that. This is a scythe. This is actually a pretty cool looking one with some great detail on it, but usually a scythe is simple. It's a noun and it's a farming tool. They used to use it as a long handle right there and a beautiful curved blade, but it's used for cutting weed or grass. This looks like a really dangerous weapon though, but it was originally thought to something that was just used on farms. Dyslexia. Our main character actually has dyslexia as well as attention deficit disorder. So I thought it'd be important for you to learn a little bit about that. It's a noun. It's a reading disorder or a processing disorder where a student is unable to distinguish letters or the sequence of letters. There's many people who have dyslexia and then become unable to read because they're not able to decode what the words actually are supposed to be based on the fact that their brain is not seeing what everybody else is seeing. And that often goes along with attention deficit disorder. People make jokes about that all the time, like, ask me about my attention deficit disorder, or pie, or my cat, or a dog. I have a bike. Do you like TV? I saw a rock. Hi. But it's actually a pretty serious condition that a lot of people do have, and attention deficit disorder is a noun. It's a condition that is marked by inattentiveness or inability to concentrate. So someone who has ADD has a particularly hard time on concentrating. And it's kind of serious. People make jokes, but it's actually kind of a serious thing, and it affects a lot of people, including, my husband actually has ADD. This is frieze. Frieze is a noun, and it's a decorative band on an outside wall, usually bearing lettering or sculpture. You'll see these even around Lynn. Like I've mentioned, the columns we talked about, you'll see these on some of the buildings around town, some of the older buildings, and they have sculpture there, and this is all influenced by ancient Greek art. And here it says, I think it's like equal protection under the law or something. That's kind of hard to see, but this has to do with court. And up here it would say something like, if it was Lenin Scheich, it would say LEHS or something like that there. And then there'd be some sort of decoration or some sort of sculpture up here. So that's called a frieze right there. Talons, the claws usually of a bird. So a horrible monster has these incredibly long, thick talons in it to catch its prey or to rip things apart. So something that has talons can be kind of scary. Next, vaporize. I love this verb. To change form into steam, fume, smoke, or gas. That's the scientific version of it. So it's a great verb, vaporize. And vaporize usually has to do with something vaporizes something else, usually huge or explosion. Contaminate is a verb, to make harmful or unusable by adding unclean or bad materials. Things that are contaminated are things that are poisoned. I put this picture here because a lot of times water supplies can be contaminated because of natural disasters, hurricanes, tsunamis, things like that. Contaminate is to make something harmful. Squall, usually it's like a short violent storm, a sudden violent burst of wind, usually accompanied by rain, sleet, or snow. You'll see this picture is a beach. It's kind of a decent day, but then looks like the huge storm clouds coming in, so a squall is coming in. Next word is solstice, and this word is particularly important to ancient religions because the solstice, the winter solstice, when the sun starts to come back out, or the summer solstice when the sun starts to go, down a little earlier every day, creates the longer and shorter days of the year. And it's the solstice is the 2 times of year where the sun reaches either its northernmost point on the earth or the southernmost point, and that affects the times of the day that we actually have sunlight. Ignorance. This is a noun. It's a lack of knowledge or concern, and people talk about ignorance being bliss. If you don't know about something, then it won't bother you. And I put this little e-card. If ignorance is bliss, why aren't you laughing? And then we always say reading is the best way to stamp out ignorance. That's what an English teacher would always say. And then we're going to be learning about, just like in Aquila and the Bee, we learn that small words make up many bigger words. And if you learn these root words, you can break down words you may not know. I wanted to make this point because we started talking about it in the ancient Greece presentation that was up on YouTube. Polytheistic, monotheistic. We're going to learn those a little bit in more detail. Poly means many. For example, and I put this picture of many, many people. It looks like they're at a concert. Polytheistic, we learned that poly is many. Theos, theistic is theos from God, many gods. Or polyracial. Poly means many. Racial is obviously many different types. So someone who's polyracial has many different types of races in their family tree. Mono. Mono means one. So examples of monotheistic or monotheism, one, and theos, meaning God, one God. Monocle is one of the, like a set of glasses with only one lens. Usually bad guys wear those. Or monochrome, which is one color. You wear all red, you are wearing monochrome. So mono means one. There's actually the word monopoly, which combines the first one, poly, with mono, and it means one who controls many. Monopoly. So just like in the game, one person wants to control everything. Demi means half. Example, demigod, and we'll see that. We saw that when we were reading Perseus, that he was half god, half human. Or a demi-millionaire, someone who has $500,000 is a demi-millionaire. And this looks like a Pokeball, don't you think? And next, theos, meaning God. Examples, theocracy. We live in a democracy, but a theocracy is ruled by God, or theory or theoretically, which essentially means an idea that comes from the mind or comes from God. Bio, meaning life. Examples of biology. Ology means the study of, and bio means life, so study of life. Biography, graph means write, and bio means life, so written life. It's great that you guys will be learning these. It's great that you guys will be working on these over the next couple of days. We'll be creating some sentences and maybe a story with some of the words that we're going to be working on. But I'm really excited for you to learn these and to start working on our stuff for Percy Jackson. Okay, sounds great. And hope you guys will get this all done, and we'll work on these over the next couple of days. Great.